What is up, guys? So I've talked about the Black Cleaver and this Korean build quite a bit recently, but I also don't want to overload you with it, right? So I'm going to put all of the champions I think that are awesome with this in just one video rather than keep doing separate ones. Now we're going to look at why it's so good first off, and then the 6 that really use this and can abuse how good it is, plus actually kind of a bit of a different one at the end. Before we get started, this is another video sponsored by Discord, but this time I want to do it a bit differently. I'm going to invite you guys into my own personal server. Now you can ask me questions, you can talk to me, you can talk to each other, find other people to play with, and just have a little bit of fun in there, like a little community. I'm also going to be doing a few giveaways in there, plus when I stream, I'll take people from the server to play with. Now there's a link down below or on screen to download Discord, then all you need to do is press the plus icon, paste in my link, which is also below, and you'll be in my server. So this video is a combination of my testing and some research, so you cannot call me a Korean fanboy today, okay? But anyway, why is the Black Cleaver so good on AD carries right now? There's actually 5 things, okay? So the AD, which is just good for ability damage, cooldown reduction means we can use them more, armor pen is cheaper, which is always nice, and the underrated one is the move speed from auto attacks on the Phage passive. So Black Cleaver at full stacks is really strong. It's 30% total armor reduction that will also increase your team's damage to them as well, not just yours. It also applies on any physical damage. It doesn't have to be on hit, it doesn't have to be an auto attack, just anything that is physical. There are 2 big differences between this and like a Lord Dominic's Regard the Last Whisper upgrade. The first is that it helps your entire team because the armor reduction is applied as a debuff on the enemy, not just buffing your auto attacks. The second thing is, even though the Last Whisper is 45%, it's only bonus armor, so it only affects armor from items. Black Cleaver is 30% of their total armor, so actually it's better versus 1 armor item or less, about the same for 2 armor items, and the Last Whisper starts to get better at 3 or more armor items. Now remember as well, Black Cleaver being total means it's way more effective against people who don't build armor, as it's eating into their base stats, better damage versus AD carries and mid laners. So the first champion up is one that I was going to make a video about separately, a twist on the blue Ezreal build. Most of you know that I'm an Ezreal main, and I've been testing this one out a lot. Black Cleaver is a bit different for Ezreal because it's not really about how fast we can stack it, but it adds up with the Q. The Q poke is just applying over and over. You know, like if your little brother punches you, it's probably not going to hurt the first time, but after 5 punches in the same place, it is going to. That's kind of the same thing. Your ultimate is actually magic damage, so it's not going to help there, but we almost always get max passive stacks from that, so more attack speed means more stacks. It's also easier to get 40% cooldown reduction with just this and Iceborne, and we can get different boots like swiftness, and we aren't left at 30% either. One of the things that Ezreal struggles with is tanks, and this gives us a better answer to tanks earlier. Like sure, Last Whisper is good later, but Ezreal really struggles mid-game versus tanks before the Blade of the Ruined King and Last Whisper. That is what Black Cleaver is helping. So for the build, we can be like a standard mana immune Iceborne, like either order, it doesn't really matter, then Black Cleaver, then Blade of the Ruined King, then Last Whisper to end versus 3+ armor tanks, or maybe a Mercurial or a Bloodthirster. All the build that I'm testing right now, we get a tier first, then Iceborne, then Black Cleaver, and then we actually upgrade into the mana immune, and then finally a Blade of the Ruined King. This is going to slow down your mirror mana a little bit, but the poke is going to hurt even more. So basically you do more damage mid game, then you have a bit of a dip while mana immune transforms, and then you go back to going nuts. Next up is Ashe. A little bit different, I know, but does fit into this really well. Cooldown reduction is great on her. More volleys means a lot of damage, means better kiting, and actually more ultimate arrows as well. Now this bit is a little bit cheeky, but Runin's applies Black Cleaver stacks. Not only are you going to be doing AoE crits now and slowing people, but you're also reducing everyone's armor too. Your Q Ranger's Focus will apply it as well. You gain bonus attack speed when you're using that, right? So it's even faster stacking, and even volley applies it. The speed up from the Phage is great with you're slow. It's just like blue Ezreal actually. It's even harder now because you're slowing them and speeding yourself up. Personally, what I've been testing build wise is Infinity Edge, Runin's, Black Cleaver, Bloodthirster, and then either a Last Whisper or a Mercurial Scimitar. You're going to get the crit with this, which is still really good, but this is probably the one build that it actually fits perfectly into a place where a Last Whisper would have gone. Just a side note for Runin's, really, like Caitlyn and Jinx both use that item, but they don't really use the cooldown reduction, so that part is wasted, and it's also more of a single target focus, which means Last Whisper will cut through that one tank a little bit faster later. Sivir is really cool because she was almost the Korean Lucian. Like for a long time, people were actually using Ghostblade and Black Cleaver combo on her, but then Lucian came along, did it better, was kind of the better of the two, and plus Sivir has more of a trade-off. So let's look at Black Cleaver though, okay? So you get AD, which means more Q and W damage. The cooldown reduction means you can actually use both of them more often. The armor pen is more damage from your abilities, but also the bigger thing is your W hits across the entire team, right? So it's going to apply to everyone. The speed up is nice. You have low range, no mobility really, so it's going to help you kite a little bit more. And you can see, actually in theory, it's pretty decent, honestly. Her W bounces, applying stacks is huge. The problem with Sivir is that your W can crit, and this build, especially with a Ghost Blade, is AD armor pen focus and not crit focus, so you lose all of that AoE crit damage. So that's kind of why we don't see it as often now. It's a pretty hefty price to pay. But what about if we compromise? We could just put the Black Cleaver part into a normal build, just not getting the Ghost Blade. It gives us the crit we need first, and then it also gives us the armor pen a bit earlier than we'd normally get it, so kind of the best of both. Now the build I've been testing, remember this is still testing, Essence Reaver is just too good to pass up, honestly. You get CDR, crit, mana, and Sivir does have some mana issues unlike Lucian. Then we're going to get a Phantom Dancer or Shiv depending on what you want, and then the Black Cleaver, or we can get Infinity Edge and then Black Cleaver fourth. So we have two options, right, and both are pretty good, but I kind of prefer the Black Cleaver third at the moment. It's a better mid-game team fight just from utility point of view anyway. You're better all around and versus tanks as well. Then we're going to round out that build with an Infinity Edge and finally probably a Bloodthirster. Infinity Edge third is more glass cannon, more damage, disgusting crits, but you have no armor pen at all, and whenever I build this I kind of struggle versus tanks. If we're going to get Infinity Edge third, we kind of use Black Cleaver as more of a situational item. So versus like multiple huge tanks, we probably need a Last Whisper instead and we just skip it. Versus a normal team though, like an average team, some armor but not a lot, Black Cleaver will be better for the AoE armor shred. While we're on this kind of thing, I have to cover Lucian. Like, he probably abuses it the most. I'm going to specifically talk about the Black Cleaver though, so this might help you understand the build a little bit more. Now all the stats on him are really good. AD, CDR, armor pen, the speed up. The armor pen stacking is really good because you can stack it with your passive autos. Both of them are going to apply it and it stacks really quickly. The ultimate also applies it as well. It means that if you catch someone with an entire ult, you're going to be doing a crazy amount of damage. You're even more mobile in a team fight with the speed up and cooldown reduction on your dash, and it just helps him rip through tanks, but also squishy targets as well. The great thing about Black Cleaver is that it's total armor, right? So it means that it's still reducing a fair amount from an AD carry or a mid laner in eating into their base stats. This build has kind of been all over my channel recently, but still, Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, Phantom Dancer or Rapid Fire Cannon, and then choose between Infinity Edge, Mercurial Scimitar or Bloodthirster. Now a lot like Sivir actually, Twitch is another one that doesn't really use it too much right now, but in theory it's really good. Just like her though, we're not really going to build this early into the game, but we're going to go for more of our team fight. We actually get Ghostblade anyway in most of our games, so the double armor pen and attack speed active for faster stacks is going to apply here, which is great. The cooldown reduction is not really that good though. Maybe quicker E expunge, but that's kind of pushing it honestly. We're mainly just looking for the synergy with our ultimate and stacking the Black Cleaver. There's kind of two synergies actually. So Runins is going to apply, which we said already, plus then the ultimate attacks multiple people. Basically, just to keep it really simple, you're going to be nailing everyone with Black Cleaver stacks if they group up in a team fight. Now the problem is that it's a bit more awkward to fit into a build on Twitch, but it does help your team a lot. It also helps your aim isn't really to get too close to a tank, but hit the flanks. So for build, we have to decide a little bit, but first of all, we probably get a Ghostblade. I think that's pretty cool. Attack speed active is super good with your ultimate burst, and then a Runins afterwards. Same with Sivir, we can either get a Black Cleaver third or Infinity Edge and then Black Cleaver. The advantage of third is the AD from your ultimate, and plus, well, everything else really will do more damage. It's really good for snowballing when you're ahead and cutting through a tank. The advantage from Infinity Edge third is more crits. You kill a squishy target quicker, and over short fights probably actually do a little bit more. Against a tank though, you're going to struggle to get through them a bit. Again, the same as before, right? Against huge tanks, you're probably going to want to get a Last Whisper, but tankless teams or just like only one armor item, Black Cleaver is good. Now his fortune we talked a bit about yesterday, but let's just focus specifically on the Black Cleaver aspect of it. The cooldown reduction is okay, but actually not very good. Like honestly, you're going to be aiming most of your ultimate damage with this build, and you're only going to ult once in a team fight. The thing is though, we value the AD and especially the armor pen stacking so much that it's just worth more to us on Misfortune. We're happy to pay that extra gold. We can really quickly apply those stacks with our W and Ghostblade active, making our autos hurt even more, but the bigger thing is definitely our ultimate. It's going to apply this to everyone caught in it. It's ridiculous damage. I think honestly this is one of the simplest synergies here, so it's not much to say, but very, very effective. Probably actually more effective than anyone else. The build right now would be Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, Infinity Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, and Bloodthirster. Or you can actually throw a cheeky Duskblade in there second as well. So that's actually our 6, but there's just another one that I very quickly want to mention, Varus. I don't think he really fits into the meta all that well right now, but his poke is disgusting and he uses the cooldown reduction extremely well. Honestly, it's pretty much a perfect item for him. AD to make your poke hurt more, cooldown reduction to do it more, and armor pen makes it hurt even more as well. Your poke actually really starts to hurt if you can hit multiple targets especially and keep hitting them over and over again to stack it up. It's honestly kind of the same reasons as Ezreal, really just a lot less mobile, and the build will be something like a Man Immune, Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, and then probably into a Bloodthirster just to make your poke hurt even more. I'm not going to go into him too much here, but I think honestly he might be one to keep an eye out for with this build in future. So that wraps up this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of like all together format in one video. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share, but that's all for now, so let's go to the robots.